Shanora Williams was definitely channeling Angela Bassett in Waiting to Exhale. I literally had to read that a few times. I was like, what? Hello, welcome to Russell Reads. I'm Deja, and today we are going to do the first bi-weekly reading vlog. As I discussed in my May reset, I guess, I am going to start doing bi-weekly reading vlogs because I just have not been reading a lot, and so it's been hard to really make content. So I'm going to be doing these bi-weekly reading vlogs because I am reading. I'm just reading very slowly. And so I decided to do this because this way I can still talk about the books that I'm reading. It'll just be a little bit more in depth and a little bit more casual. And I'll still do my recent reads and everything, but this is just to help me keep talking about books. So these bi-weekly vlogs are not really going to be themed, I guess. At least when I start them, they're not really going to be a theme. I think it's basically just going to be what I'm reading. And I feel like it's a good time to actually start this new vlog because I have finally finished the book that was taking me so long to finish. And so I finally did that. And ever since then, I feel like I am just way more keen to read. And I think I'm getting back into being okay with DNFing books, even if they are arcs, because that is the struggle that I've been having. I've been trying to read more arcs and new releases, and I keep wanting to give them more of a try, but I think I'm just going to be more liberal with my DNFs. I am currently not in the middle of any books, which I feel light about, which I'm just very excited about the possibilities of what's going to be my next read. And I was actually joining the live stream that Heather and Ray were doing, just talking about just book things and all of that. And I realized as we were just kind of talking about how we're just in a slump and no one's really had any 5-star reads, that my highest rating so far this year has been a 4-star. And most of those 4 stars actually were manga or graphic novels, or one is a self-help book. And I've only had one novel be 4 stars. One novel. And I'm just like, that is wild to me. We are almost in June and I've only had a 1 4-star read. That is crazy. And so I'm not going to say the goal of this video is to find another at least 4-star novel read, but I don't know. I'm almost thinking maybe I should. And I feel like I have some strong contenders because I do have a little bit of an idea of what I want to read next. So the first one is just a short story called Blood or Hunger or something like that by River Solomon. I really like River Solomon's work, and this is just a short story that I think could help me get back into the reading mood. So I'm going to read that one probably while I eat breakfast today. And I do have a manga that I want to pick up. So this is the Death Note number 10. Am I'm trying to complete the series within the next few months. I have this one and the last two, so maybe I'll complete that in this vlog, but I'm not sure. I at least want to get through the 10th one, which I'm thinking maybe I'll do today as well. I'm also thinking that I will pick up a Shanora Williams book. I feel like her thrillers are just super quick, easy reads that I just fly through them. And so I have an arc of Whispers on the Lake or of the Lake, and that one comes out in June, the end of June, I believe. So I do want to get to that one, and I'm thinking I might start that at least in this vlog. I think it's less than 300 pages, so I feel like I'm going to fly through it. And yeah, I'm kind of in the mood for a quick read like that. And then the last one that I will potentially start is the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, which is by Suyi, Davies, Okugbowa. This was on my anticipated releases books for 2025, and I feel like maybe doing like an IP project of a world that I already really enjoy could be a good thing. The only four-star novel that I had for this year was Ambessa, which is part of the Arcane world. So maybe this will be another one that will help me just get back into the mood of reading. I do like Suyi Davies Okugbowa's work, and I really love how he does like Nigerian inspired worlds. Like it just feels way more authentic to me. And while Wakanda isn't necessarily Nigerian, I do think that the culture aspects of how he writes things will definitely shine through with this. So, this is another one that I might start. I'm realizing that's quite a lot of books that I'm potentially going to be picking up in this video. And honestly, no expectations on whether or not I'm going to get to them. I'm just going to vibe and read with you guys. There's one thing that I did want to show you guys before I just hop off. So I did end up getting my pre-ordered copy of Love Be Damned by Briana Garrett. This is actually a little bit thicker than I thought it was, but that's no problem. It's still not like 500 pages. And so I'm really excited to pick this one up. I'm probably not going to start this anytime soon just because I am in the mood for like more adult stories. So I'm excited to have this, but I did want to show you like the little things that I got because I pre-ordered it. So the first thing that I got was actually this little like character card thing. It looks like a magazine cover, and I think it has like the main character in the middle, her sister, and I'm not actually sure who the other person is. It probably says on here Damian Walker. Maybe that's her crush. I think that's her crush. But I thought that this looked cute. And then it also came with a bookmark. This, I'm not sure where the QR code goes to. Maybe her Instagram or something, but I don't know. But then on the back, it has a quote from chapter 31 that says, "I never should have doubted you, Whitney Houston." Which interesting. I think it's playing into those things that I like feared about like potentially just being like very dated and not really for the teens of this generation, but I'm still gonna give it a shot. And then we have some stickers. I'll probably use these in my planet or something. There's also these like kiss tattoos, which I might just give to like my niece or nephew or something. Um, it's temporary, so it's okay. And then I'm not sure what this is. I think it's a sticker, maybe, or I'm not sure. But it's just the main character with her crush, and I just thought this was really cute. I'm not sure what I'll do with it, but it's just really cute. And those are the pre-order things that I got with it. I'm excited to eventually pick it up, but like I said, it's probably not going to be in the next month or so, just because I'm taking a little bit of a break from YA. So yeah, I'm sorry for this like very long intro, but I feel like this is going to be a good vlog. I'm not sure what's going to happen in it, but I'm excited to get into this weekly vlog and just chill with you guys as I read. So yeah, let me go ahead and eat breakfast and then I will check in later. Okay, I'm coming in because I actually finished the book. This one was a short story by River Solomon, and that was Blood Meets Hunger or something like that. I know the first word of the title is blood. I cannot remember what the rest of the title is. But anyway, I finished that story this morning. I think I would give it like 3.5 stars. I had a little trouble like getting into it for a minute just because when I first started it, I realized that the first paragraph was like one sentence and I was like, what kind of writing is this going to be? And I know that River Solomon has like a very distinct style. I feel like the work almost always has like a quirkiness to it while it's still very like graphic in terms of like the things that it is describing. And this one, there is a lot of like birth. So those first few descriptions were definitely very gory to me. I think after the second time, I kind of got used to it. I will say that like this one feels very like theme heavy. The themes of rebirth were very interesting in this story. It wasn't just like rebirth in terms of like birthing like people who like grew up to whatever age they were going to be within like a few seconds, but it was also like a rebirth kind of theme with like trying to think of like what they are going to do after they are enslaved, because the story actually starts off with Sully, the main character, killing off her masters. And I feel like the story was really talking about how and like why people live their lives after they are enslaved, like just like the point and just trying to find, I don't want to say like the will to live, but like I feel like there was almost kind of that like theme in there as well. But overall, it was okay. Definitely something that I'm happy I was able to read, just to read more of River Solomon. But yeah, definitely check those content warnings because those details were like definitely graphic. I also ended up starting the Whispers on the Lake or of the Lake or something. And like Shanora Williams always does, I feel like she always has this like tiny level of drama in her books. Like it can be like relationship drama or just like pettiness. And I just love reading it. Like, I don't know, the main character, she catches her husband cheating or whatever. And it's like this whole thing because literally as I was reading this scene, I was like, Shanora Williams was definitely channeling Angela Bassett in Waiting to Exhale, in that like iconic scene where she's burning like all of her husband's stuff in a car and then walking away while the car blows up. Literally, I was like, that's the scene that I pictured whenever I was reading that scene. I was like, we're already starting off really great. Like, I'm already really invested. I haven't gotten like too far into it, but we are following a character named Rose. Rose was the one who was cheated on by her husband, and she is an investigative reporter. So that's pretty much all I got so far. Like, there's rumors swirling around her. She's trying to get this new position, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got so far. I'm only like 5% into the book, but I'm already really hooked. I will probably read more of that book later on today, but just wanted to update you guys before I go and do my errands. All right, it is time for another update, and I actually did quite a bit of reading today. And of course, I think both of the books that I've been reading were not on the list that I talked about in the beginning. I think I'm just gonna like stop making a TBR for these videos just because I'm such a mood reader. Like, I don't know. As soon as I put them on a TBR, like, I don't really want to read them. Thinking that's what we'll do. Anyway, the first book that I finished today was Death Note number 10. I really enjoyed this one. I feel like the series has been picking up for me so much since like the middle of the books. That tension between like, is he going to be caught? Is he not going to be caught? Just like him trying to outsmart everybody. Like, all of that is there and I'm loving it. And I will say that I'm still very annoyed by how they treat the women in the series. Another woman is reintroduced in this book, and I am purely annoyed by how this person sees her, but like also he is not really a good person. So like I don't know what I expected, but regardless of that, I am still really enjoying this series and I'm just like, where is this going to go? Like I only have like two books left. I actually might finish those last two manga in this video as well because they are technically due at the library and I'm still holding on to them. So I'm trying to get through them as quickly as possible. But considering the fact that I'm still very invested in the series, I'm thinking that wouldn't be a problem. The next one that I ended up picking up is The Record Keeper. I'm actually very surprised by like how invested I am in this one. This one isn't a fantasy. It is a dystopian that came out in 2018, and we're following this character named Erica who was basically born and brought up in this academy. And in the early parts of her life, she was more of a rebellious spirit, but she is quickly like calmed down by this punishment that she endures, and so now when we see her in the current day, she is more of a goody two shoes, a model student, just pretty much like the person that follows the rules. Usually, when I have a character like this, I'm not as invested in them because they can just be quite annoying. But I don't know what it is about like this character that feels different than a lot of the other characters that feel like too good. But Erica just feels more interesting to me. Like I can tell that she's having misgivings, and maybe it is because she was rebellious at first before it was basically punished out of her when she was younger. And so I feel like that is why I'm enjoying her a lot more. And when I say like this girl is like a model student, like she literally is like having these people like question things to her face, and she's literally like, no, like I'm just trying to become a senator. Like this is against the rules, like don't bother me with this. But she's also not like a snitch either, which I'm just like, it's like that interesting dichotomy of her, which I'm really like liking about this. And just like in most dystopian worlds, like they feel like it's a utopia before they are awakened, and I can feel that coming. I am about 80 pages into this one, and I'm just like flying through this. Like I didn't want to put it down. There were like some parts of it that I'm just like, I'm not really vibing with, but only because I am not good when it's just like information being told. And there are some chapters and like paragraphs where it's just like information about like how like the government and stuff is structured. And even when I was trying to like study in like college and stuff, like that's not really how I learn information. And when it's like a full chapter of that, like I don't know, it's like not necessarily like a flashback where that happens, but it's more of like the character like telling us things because she learned it. And so like my eyes have been like glazing over like some of that information, which I hate to say, but like I feel like I have a good sense of the world. It has elements of American slavery where the students in this book where Erica is, there's the first brother and then there's the second brother. From what I understand, the first brothers are pretty much the people that are in this academy. And the second brothers are the ones that are working in the fields. The first brothers have more of the ability to go to the Senate and be academic, I guess. And the second brothers are pretty much always going to be field hands. And what's interesting about the second brothers is that I feel like we actually get some kind of like brainwashing in it. Like there was this line that I actually read like 3 times that I was just like, wow, if this doesn't explain America right now, like that's wild. Actually, let me read it. So, in this part of the book, they are basically having a debate in class about scrambling the second brother's minds. And basically, they are having a discussion about why they scrape the minds of the second brother. And when the teacher asks them and somebody is like talking about peace, this is what she says. She says, if they can't remember their history, they won't remember their grievances. And so, bereft, they won't resist the law. Thus, peace in America is accomplished. I literally had to read that a few times. I was like, what? But it just made me think about like how ignorance is basically being weaponized today. It was a line that I was just like, oh, I think I'm going to really like this story. And I think honestly that this book is doing exactly what a good dystopia does. Like it questions society and really ties it to the real world and make you question a lot of things. I've been rambling a lot about this book, but I am really enjoying it so far. I'm pleasantly surprised by how much it's keeping my attention, and I'm very curious to see like where it goes. This is a duology, so yeah, I'm most likely going to pick up the second book unless something drastic changes in like the next 400 pages. But that has been my reading so far. I'm probably going to read a little bit more tonight. I need to do like some skincare because I am breaking out very bad. I'm not even sure if you can see on the camera, but like I have a lot of like breakouts. And I will say it's probably because I wasn't eating the best while I was on vacation. And I guess also not while I was back because I've been very, I don't want to say lazy in terms of what I've been making, but like just very quick meals. But just wanted to update you guys before I wind down for the night. And yeah, I will check in later. The way that I am flying through these books, I don't know where that reading slump went, but I guess I left it where I went for a vacation. Anyway, I ended up finishing two more books. I ended up finishing Death Note 11 and 12, which were the finale for the entire Death Note series. I really did like the last two books. I will say that one thing that I'm noticing about manga, or I guess even anime at times, because I think this actually might be why I don't like watching anime for a long time, but I do not like just like the information being told to us. And I feel like, especially in this last book, the monologue of the characters explaining how they are outsmarted one another, like, I just found that just very tedious. Like, I wish I could have saw that, but I know that it probably wouldn't have worked for the story. But I just felt like that just made the story prolong so much. Like, I always wanted to be more in the actual like scene and like have that suspense, but I don't know if that would have worked for that story. So 11 and 12, I did really like it. I'm still not crazy about like how they treated the women in this series, but yeah, it was a good series. I really love the suspense aspect of the entire series. I feel like I almost preferred the dynamic in the beginning, and I feel like that's also when that major shift happens, which not going to spoil it for anybody, but I feel like those that have read the series or even watched the anime, they probably know what I'm talking about. But I feel like when that shift happened, like there was that lull period after and then it started picking up more, but I almost feel like it didn't pick up as much as I would have liked if we would have kept the original storyline. I don't know. But again, I liked it. I am kind of watching the anime, but again, I don't really like watching anime for the reasons that I stated before. Like, I just feel like they stretch out things for too long, and maybe it's just like me being impatient, but like I was just like, I don't know why this needed to be 12 books, especially for like in a suspense kind of thing. But I think that's just me. So I realized that I never really updated you guys on the Whispers of the Lake by Shanora Williams. And that's probably because I haven't picked it up since that first day that I was talking about it. I'm still very much interested in it. And I'm probably going to pick that up later tonight while I'm probably waiting on a video to upload or something. But I feel like the book that's calling to me most right now is The Record Keeper. I still haven't made any progress in it since I last spoke about it, but this is the one that is calling to me most because it just really made my brain think, and I'm very curious to see like where the story is going to go. So this might actually be the next one that I pick up tonight. But for now, I am going to make myself dinner because I am trying to be very good about not ordering out in these delivery apps. So I'm gonna make myself dinner, edit a video, and we'll see from there. So I went to the library yesterday, and of course, I hauled some books. I really did not need to because I already have a June TBR, and none of these books are even on that TBR, but I just couldn't help myself. You know, like some people, they express like their stress when they go like book shopping or like splurge shopping. I go to the library and I browse books. I just hang out at the library. And it's just a free way for me to get a lot of books to express my stress without spending a lot of money. So I'm going to do a quick library haul and then we will talk about what I've been reading. So the book that I actually went to the library for was the Duke's Defiant Cinderella. I've been feeling more into historical a little bit, and I'm curious to see how I will do with this one because it is Regency inspired, and there has only been one Regency inspired book that I actually enjoy that featured a BIPOC person. But I think that both of the characters on this cover are actually BIPOC. Like, I don't know, maybe he might be like South Asian or Indian or something. Like, I'm not exactly sure. So I'm curious what I will think of this one. I also have the other book that's by this author that is also Regency inspired. I'm forgetting the title, but I will put that on the screen. So those are the two that I'm thinking I might pick up sometime soon, just as like a palate cleanser between all of the other books I've been reading. Another book that I picked up from the library is Bochica. Again, I have not looked up how to pronounce this title, but this was one that was on my anticipated releases in May, and so I picked it up. It is less than 300 pages, so I feel like I could fly through this. It is definitely giving me the Latino horror paranormal vibes that I've been like craving since I read The Hacienda. So very excited to have a copy of this. I'm actually realizing as I'm like going through all of these that I have actually a lot of like paranormal horror things. I don't know what it is about like these last like few weeks, but I've been feeling like I want some like paranormal urban fantasy kind of books. And so a lot of the books that I have fit into that, or they are like darker, like horror thriller type of things. So going along with that, I have Magic Bites by Illona Andrews. I was actually recommended this book a few years ago from Heather at HEA Booktubes, and I've been wanting to get into a longer paranormal series. I feel like, granted, like this is probably going to feel very dated, but it is a very short paranormal read, and I don't know, I think it is going to scratch that itch that I've been wanting with paranormal reads. A horror-ish book that I have is Model Home by River Solomon, one of my favorite authors. I still have not gotten around to picking up this one, but a lot of people seem to have loved this book. It seems like it is like exemplifying River Solomon's work, but with like familial heavy themes. And so I'm very excited for this one. And then I picked up two Silvia Moreno Garcia's books, and one is Mexican Gothic. This is one of her more popular ones that I have not read yet, and so I wanted to pick this up because the two that I did read from her, they aren't necessarily the more popular ones, so I'm very curious to see what I think of this one. This is another Latino horror book that I've been keeping my eye on, but since a lot of people love it, I'm curious to see what I will think of it. The second Silvia Moreno Garcia book that I have is The Seventh Veil of Salome. This one I haven't heard actually much about since it was released. Was that last year? I'm not exactly sure when this was released, but I think that this is her most recent release before the next one that comes out, I think is in the summer or something. But I haven't heard much about this, so I'm curious to see what Silvia Moreno Garcia does with the story. And then going into the cozier side of the paranormal, I have Witchful Thinking by Celestine Martin. This one just giving me cozy, witchy vibes. We'll see what I think of it. And then another that people have been really enjoying is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Really heard great things about this one. I think that people also really like the second one, so curious to see what I think of this book. And last but not least, I have a novella called But Not Too Bold. I heard really great things about this one. I had this checked out from the library before, but I wasn't able to get to it before it was due. I only read the first page of it, and just how it started already like captured me, and I heard really great things about it so far, so I'm really excited to pick this one up as well. But those are all of the books that I hauled from the library. Not too bad of a haul. I feel like a lot of these are shorter reads, so there is a chance that I will get to them soon, but I'm not promising anything because, again, very much a mood reader. I have a TBR and I am trying to get through some arcs that I have and also read some books that I own. So we will see what I end up picking up from that stack and from other books. So while I was at the library, I was also reading The Record Keeper. I am now 51% into this book, and it has been interesting to say the least. Like, this book isn't what I was expecting, and I'm not sure what I was expecting because I didn't really read the summary before I picked it up. I just heard good things about it, and it's one that's been on my TBR for a long time. So I think I said before that the character is very interesting to me just in terms of her unlearning all of her biases and things. And we are 51% into the book, and I feel like she's still unlearning a lot of things, which I think is very realistic, but I'm not sure how I feel about reading about that. There was a whole scene, actually, not even a scene, it's like multiple scenes, multiple chapters, where I feel like it was very much prolonging her, like, learning from the people that she has a skewed perspective of just because of how she has been taught. And honestly, that was a slog to get through. Like, I get why it was there, but I feel like I didn't really need to hear the stories of those people just so that she's unlearning her biases. I guess I just wasn't expecting the unlearning process to be so much of this book so far. And it actually feels way more dark academia to me than like dystopian sci-fi, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'm not necessarily hating the story, but my enjoyment of this book is very much ebbing and flowing when I like the parts that I do read, but then there are other parts I'm just like, okay, can we just like go on? Like, can we just move on? But I think that I am going to stick it out mainly because I do feel like the characters are interesting. Again, I'm still very intrigued with the main character, Erica, but there's also other characters that I find very interesting. Mainly, Covington has been like an interesting character. Like, she has this kind of like tension with Erica, and so their dynamic is interesting. I also really like the Hosea character. I feel like he is the character that is waking her up. I feel like a lot of the characters, they're not necessarily unique if you think of it in like a dystopian like world, like just typical things that you would see in a dystopian story. But for whatever reason, those characters and just like how they interact with each other has been intriguing for me. So I'm not going to DNF this book yet, but it is very slow just because a lot of the things that have been happening is not necessarily a lot of external plot things. I feel like a lot of the things that have been happening is more of the character changing the way that they see things. And then there is like a sprinkle of politics happening that's like introduced as we are continuing. So yeah, we will see what I think of this by the end. And yeah, I have not really read anything else, so I do not have any other updates, but it is kind of like my reset day, so I'm going to be doing a lot of just like cleaning and all of that. So I might start an audiobook, but we will see because I haven't really been called to audiobooks these days. So I don't know. We will see, and I will check in later. All right, it is time to close out this video. It has been a few days since I last checked in, and I have not really read much more. I did make more progress in The Whispers of the Lake by Shanora Williams. I am still having very mixed thoughts about it. It's not my favorite Shanora Williams, and I'm struggling to figure out why, but I feel like I'll probably discuss that more in the next bi-weekly vlog. I haven't made any more progress in the record keeper. That's one that's just been on the back burner for now. Not necessarily because like I'm bored with it, but it is more of a slower paced dystopian sci-fi, and I feel like I just needed something a little bit faster because it has just been a crazy work week, and this upcoming week is actually going to be a little bit crazier too. So I just wanted something that I could just fly through, and that is what the Shanora Williams book is giving me. I'm still very happy with like what I did complete in these 2 weeks. I do feel like my reading slump is over, so I'm very much happy about that. I feel the inkling to pick up so many books, and I don't know what I'm going to read after these 2 books that I'm currently in the middle of, but I have general ideas because I'm in the mood for like 3 different things right now. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.